The bear sunk its yellow bacteria-ridden teeth into Nathan's thick skull. Its upper fang sunk into the young male's eye socket, while its lower jaw pressed into his chin. "Oh my God!" Nathan grinned as the pressure began to crush the young man's skull. It was an oddity, a fatal bear attack to take place in southern Michigan. A rogue black bear, a peculiar case. Sightings in Ludington, Michigan were rare ever since the mid-2000s, and an attack almost unheard of. But this bear had a particular agency about it, a fearlessness toward humans, a hunger for living flesh. Nathan looked up at the monstrosity towering over him, its red glowing eyes illuminated under the night sky as it began digging into his chest cavity. Nathan was helpless under the creature's 350-pound, hulking, lean muscle body. Things were getting dark from Nathan's perspective, and his consciousness began to fade. Nathan's case was an unfortunate one, but something even more harrowing was about to take place. What's up, guys? Iceman here. So this story is about a very violent black bear that made chaos throughout Ludington, Michigan. But before I get into it, I'd like to thank you all for your support on this channel. And if you will, like this video, subscribe to the page, and paw that bell so you're notified next time I post a video. And just FYI, I'm not a bot, so you should definitely like this video to support humanity, because a lot of those attack channels out there are bots. So yeah, I appreciate you guys. And if you want to support me further, you can become a patron, linked in the description below. And don't forget to share these videos on your social media. So let's get into this chilling tale. Ludington, Michigan is known for its beautiful forested parks. The small region connects to Lake Michigan, one of the largest freshwater lakes in the world. Hundreds of miles of natural beauty and wilderness span up and down the lakeshore. Ellery was a beautiful young woman, inside and out. She worked for the United States Postal Service and delivered packages throughout the small town of Ludington and its surrounding secluded areas. She was 5'9", pasty olive skin, and long, thick blonde hair. She was a quiet introvert and decided to skip going to college and pursue a career working for the carrier services. Bears were seldom seen during her routes, but were still known to be in the area. In late fall, Ellery would sometimes still be on her delivery routes as darkness approached. She would often spot coyotes and deer on her routes, delivering packages to homes in secluded regions, with long driveways surrounded by woods, with the mailboxes at the end of the driveways. She loved nature and watching the birds, and would spend much of her free time walking up and down the beach shore. News spread quickly around the town of Ludington regarding the vicious murder of the young man at the paw of a bear. A search party was sent out that week, but no bear was found. Ellery knew Nathan, not personally, but attended high school with him. The postal workers were recommended to carry bear spray on their routes, especially the ones working in the region in which Nathan was fatally attacked. The Michigan fleet of USPS vehicles was recently updated, adding electric vehicles as the primary transportation for mail delivery. These vehicles were more like vans and were very quiet, perhaps too quiet. It was a dark, hideous evening when the attack occurred. Ellery pulled her electric vehicle up to the narrow driveway off Alpine Road. She was working late that evening, and it was already past dusk. Her vehicle couldn't handle the terrain of the long dirt driveway, so she put the vehicle in park, grabbed the packages, and hastily headed toward the dark house at the end. The driveway was narrow, with forest on both sides. The night was quiet and eerie as the young woman made her way toward the house. The porch of the house was elevated, so she walked up the 3 creaky stairs and set the packages near the front door. She brushed off her hands, took a deep breath, and headed back toward her vehicle. Suddenly, she noticed something dark along the driveway in front of her, pass from one edge of the woods to the other. The object was large and seemingly silent in its ability to move through the night. "Oh my God," whispered Ellery to herself. "What was that?" She turned and looked back toward the house, which had no sign of life within it and found herself in a bit of a predicament. She reached into the pocket of her shorts and pulled out her keychain with a small pepper spray vessel connected to it. She clenched the small vessel tightly in her hand as she took a deep breath and began walking toward her vehicle, which was still about 50 yards away down the driveway. "Hello?" she breathed into the night. "Is anyone there?" To no answer. She hesitantly took a few steps forward, listening intently to the faint whispers of the dark forest. She slowly walked past where the creature seemed to cross the road and kept checking behind her as she hurried toward the vehicle. The vehicle was parked at the end of the driveway next to the mailbox. The window was down and the door was facing the roadside. Anxiousness became of her, and she began running toward the vehicle. And that's when the treacherous situation became dire. In an instant, she heard galloping behind her, and could almost feel the ground shake from the tremors. With a moment's time, the black entity collided with her and took her to the ground. Her feeble body slammed into the hard dirt, and the bear wrapped its jaws around the rear of her neck, thrashing her side to side like a pit bull. The young woman moaned as blood gushed from her neck, and she managed to turn around belly up on the ground and dug her fingernails into the bear's face. She felt for the eyes and managed to jam her thumb into its right eye socket. The Bruin moaned and released her for a moment, allowing Ellery to drag herself to the vehicle. She struggled to her feet and turned, only to see the animal walking toward her on its hind two legs. With one massive swipe across her face, it sent her to the ground again, nearly cracking her head with the force. Miraculously, Ellery managed to crawl back to her vehicle and slam the door behind her. The bear rushed up to the door as she hastily attempted to roll up the window. It fit its paw inside the vehicle before she was able to make it seal, and that's when she started the electric vehicle and stomped on the pedal. The torque of the vehicle dragged the bear down the gravel road with her, but it quickly let go and escaped. Ellery made her way to a local hospital, where she ended up needing various surgeries that lasted several days. Within this time frame, another attack was conducted. Presumably, the same black bear attacked a child who was walking home from school. It was an unusual attack scene, where there were several houses and sidewalks on the road in which the bear attacked. The bear dragged the small child into the woods and ripped it to pieces, causing terror and horror throughout the entire neighborhood. Fortunately, Ellery's description of the bear enabled authorities to track it faster, and sure enough, they ended up finding the bear a few days later, walking along the beach shore in broad daylight. The bear charged the authorities when they stalked it, and was shot and killed on sight. Its right eye was gushing out of its socket, an indicator that this indeed was the bear that Ellery fought. It was later tested for rabies, but the test was negative, so it's unknown the reasons as to why this particular bear became so predatory toward humans. But the haunting soul of this bear haunts Ludington, Michigan to this very day. Jeez, what do you guys think about that bear attack story? I've actually been to Ludington, Michigan a few times, and I remember I was out in Manistee National Forest there, and I saw some black bear tracks. It was later in the evening, and it actually kind of brought chills up my spine. I did have a 20 gauge shotgun in my hand at the time because I was out there just tinkering around or whatever. But even still, I knew how stealthy black bears can be, and at any moment it could come barreling out of the trail and knock the gun out of my hands, and who knows what would happen next. But nonetheless, Ellery, to an extent, I think, is a hero in this story. The fact that she was able to survive the damn bear attack and give a good description of it to authorities. Not that one was really needed because how many black bears were in the area, but nonetheless, it's good to know that this one was exterminated. But let me know your thoughts on these attacks in the comments section below. And what would you rather be confronted by? A black bear, a grizzly bear, or a polar bear? Comment below your thoughts on these matters and like this video for more chilling tales from the Iceman.